So many fans are fired up for this squad. Today we are looking closely at the Colombian national football team. International soccer might have a major Colombia problem. One of the most lethal sides of the 2026 World Cup is barely getting noticed. Just look at what this squad is quietly built. A country that made the 2024 Copa America Final on a 28-match unbeaten streak. A side that defeated Germany, Spain, Brazil, and Uruguay within 2 years. They netted 28 goals in South American qualifying, taking third place overall. Now they hit the World Cup boasting an absolutely complete attacking front line. Looking at this current roster, you have to admit, this is a Colombian squad completely capable of working absolute miracles at the next World Cup. Luis Díaz is playing some of the best soccer of his entire career. He bagged 7 goals and 3 assists in one Champions League run. Meanwhile, James Rodríguez, the 2014 World Cup Golden Boot winner, has completely reborn himself as this team's creative engine, breaking the Copa America assist record. He led Colombia right back to football's biggest stage. Rodríguez turned back the clock in 2024, completely dominating to become the Copa America player of the tournament. But that is only part of the threat. Behind Díaz and James sits a squad built to completely suffocate opponents from every single angle. Relentless transitions, aggressive attacking fullbacks, powerful midfield runners, lethal set pieces, and a tactical setup, making Colombia one of the most frustrating teams to face in all of international soccer. After decades of bitter World Cup heartbreak, from the sheer tragedy of 1994 to 2014's magic, and the absolute pain of missing 2022, this modern generation suddenly looks ready to achieve what no previous Colombian team could. So, is this just another dark horse? Or a genuine title contender hiding in plain sight? This is exactly why nobody wants to play Colombia at the World Cup. Colombia is never a simple World Cup story. They have always carried something way heavier than just raw talent. Beauty, belief, pressure, and tragedy. Plus that constant feeling that greatness was close enough to grab but never theirs. Their 1962 World Cup debut set the tone. They exited in the group stage, but against the Soviet Union, they created a moment nobody has ever duplicated. Down 4-1, they tied 4-4. Marcos Cole scored directly from a corner against Lev Yashin. It remains the only Olympic goal in men's World Cup history. That single moment perfectly captures Colombian football. Even when they lacked the squad to go deep, they always left something totally unforgettable behind. For decades, that was the curse. Brilliant flashes, zero completion, great moments, never a whole tournament. 1990 changed the entire conversation. Valderrama, Rincon, Higuita. This Colombian team had massive personality and a playing style that was completely their own. Cocky possession, crisp short passing, and the guts to build from the back while others panicked. Rincon's late equalizer against West Germany was not just another goal. It was Colombia proving they could stare down the biggest nations on earth and never flinch. Then, playing Cameroon in the round of 16, Higuita wandered out of his box. Roger Milla punished him, creating one of the most famous mistakes in World Cup history. Colombian football summarized perfectly in one sequence. Brave, brilliant, but their own worst enemy. 1994 was darker. They landed in the United States after destroying Argentina 5-0 in Buenos Aires qualifying. It was the most shocking away result South American soccer had ever witnessed. People genuinely believed this squad could win the entire tournament. Instead, they lost to Romania, fell to the United States, and packed their bags before the knockout. Andres Escobar scoring an own goal and his tragic death afterward turned a sporting failure into absolute national trauma. That tragedy never fits neatly into any sports timeline. It never will. Following their 1998 group stage exit, the World Cup completely vanished for them. Missed 2002, 2006, and 2010. For a country with huge football culture and insane street talent, that level of pure emotional attachment to the game, 3 straight World Cup absences felt like an unfair, brutal punishment. Then 2014 hit. Pekerman finally gave Colombia exactly what they were missing. Structure without killing expression. Highly technical and emotional, but perfectly balanced. They ran right through Greece, Ivory Coast, and Japan. In the round of 16 against Uruguay, James Rodríguez caught the ball cleanly on his chest, turned, and volleyed it straight into the top corner. 6 tournament goals, the Golden Boot, a quarterfinal run. Colombia's greatest World Cup performance ever. Even losing that quarterfinal clash to Brazil felt like a massive statement, not a failure. The world finally saw what Colombian soccer looked like when every piece clicked at once. 2018 was pretty decent. They won their group, dragged England to penalties in the round of 16 and lost. Then they completely missed Qatar in 2022. Missing the tournament forced a massive pivot. Come June 2022, the Colombian national squad handed the reins to Néstor Lorenzo. No flashy headlines, no glamorous European manager, just a guy who truly understood Colombian football. He was Pekerman's right-hand man during their golden era. He knew the squad, the crushing pressure, the raw emotional heat of the national team, and how to balance flair with absolute control. What came next was one of the most brilliant national team rebuilds in the modern game. They stunned Germany 2-0 in Gelsenkirchen in June 2023, their first ever win against them. Díaz headed one, Cuadrado buried a penalty. They didn't act like polite tourists in Europe. They pressed hard, attacked the space, and owned the pitch. Then came World Cup qualifiers. Brazil struck first in Barranquilla, but Colombia fought back. Díaz fired 2 goals in 4 minutes to win 2-1. Fast forward to March 2024. A historic 1-0 win over Spain in London. That single goal showed exactly what Lorenzo was building. James started the move, while Díaz absolutely scorched down the left flank. Muñoz crashing the box like a striker to finish with an acrobatic volley. This wasn't luck. It was pure organized tactics. Copa America 2024 was the ultimate statement. They marched to the final riding a 28-match unbeaten streak, smashing 12 goals. James broke the all-time Copa America single tournament assist record with 6. In the semifinal against Uruguay, they dropped to 10 men after a red card for Muñoz, yet they held on to a 1-0 lead through pure defensive grit, sweeping up second balls, killing the clock, and surviving Bielsa's relentless Uruguayan press. This definitely wasn't the old Colombia. This was a squad that finally learned how to suffer. The final against Argentina ended with Lautaro Martinez scoring in extra time. Heartbreaking, sure, but that loss actually proved their worth instead of breaking them. They just went toe-to-toe with the world champions for an entire Copa America final, wrapping up almost 2 years unbeaten under Lorenzo. This country spent decades flirting with greatness, but always falling short. 1962 brought them history. 1990 built identity. 1994 left deep trauma. 2014 proved they belonged. Missing 2022 forced absolute urgency. Lorenzo absorbed all of that, the flair, the heartbreak, the unfinished business. He built a squad with sharp structure, an edge, and real belief. Absolutely nobody wants to face Colombia at this World Cup. Here's exactly why that fear is entirely justified. They aren't showing up just hoping for one viral highlight. They are arriving as a hardened squad, ready to turn years of build-up into something legendary on the global stage. The scariest thing about Colombia isn't just that they have one massive superstar. It is that they now possess way too many weapons to hurt you. Past Colombian squads had one obvious glaring threat. You could easily scheme to shut it down. Smother the pace around Valderrama. Swarm James. Just force them off the left wing. Rattle them emotionally. But under Lorenzo, that old playbook is completely dead. Now the danger is scattered across the entire pitch. Luis Díaz is the undisputed face of it. He wrapped up South American qualifiers with 7 goals, trailing only Messi on the scoring charts. In the 2025 Champions League at Bayern Munich, he bagged 7 goals and 3 assists over 12 games. That's 980 minutes with 32 total shots. He isn't just dribbling and grabbing the occasional goal now. He consistently breaks into scoring zones against elite defenses in Europe's toughest club tournament. That's a completely different level. The best example for Colombia happened against Brazil in Barranquilla. Colombia fell 1-0 down, and Brazil had total control of the match. Slow, narrow, and incredibly tense. Then Díaz flipped it in 4 minutes. 2 headers, 2 left-wing attacks. Colombia wins 2-1. Hand him just a single moment in any game, and he will completely rewrite the story to make it his own. Here is the tactical nightmare Díaz creates, and it is brutally hard to solve. If your fullback plays him tight, he spins right in behind. If the defender drops back, he drives forward and draws a second man. If the defensive block collapses on him, Colombia simply switches the play to far side runners. He never just hugs the touchline either. He bombs into the box, attacks the back post, and gives Colombia an extra lethal finisher when plays build. That's not a winger just doing winger things. That's a system turning one man's threat into a massive collective problem. And the squad system around him makes it pure misery for opponents. When Díaz gets the ball out left, Mojica or Machado will overlap or hold the width. James floats into the left half space, while Ríos offers support underneath. Arias cuts inside from the opposite wing. Meanwhile, Muñoz charges from right back like a winger who totally forgot his defensive duties. Suddenly, you're not defending a single player, you're defending a complete chain reaction. Jhon Arias is arguably the most crucial quiet engine of this squad. He hands Colombia control without killing their pace, picks up the ball between lines, links up in impossibly tight spaces, presses like a madman, and crashes the box without demanding the entire offense flow through him. When teams flood the left side to stop Díaz, Arias quietly slips into the spaces that truly win matches. Richard Ríos brings sheer ball-carrying power through the middle. He's strong enough to shield possession, technical enough to take the ball under pressure, and brave enough to push forward instead of playing safe. Knockout football is chaos. It's built on broken plays, messy clearances, second balls, and rapid transitions. Ríos drives straight through that chaos, never around it. And Jhon Córdoba? Very easy to underestimate if you only watch highlight reels. He gives Colombia a physical focal point, bullies center backs, and opens space for runners, turns ugly possession into real attacking threat. At a World Cup, you can't always play beautifully through heavy pressure. Sometimes you just need a number 9 who holds the ball up, wins a foul, and lets everyone breathe. Then there's Daniel Muñoz. He might just be the most frustrating player for opponents to deal with. On paper, he's a right back. In reality, he attacks like a winger with a massive chip on his shoulder. His goal against Spain in London proved it. Colombia built the move with pure technical class. Díaz found the separation. Muñoz crashed the box with the aggression of a man who already knew he would score. That is not a normal fullback run. That's a tactical system creating an extra forward without sacrificing any defensive shape. Then there's James. Still around. Still dangerous. Just differently dangerous. He isn't the 22-year-old kid who shocked the globe at the 2014 World Cup. Nobody expects him to run all day anymore. What Lorenzo built with Colombia is a setup that hides his lost pace and maximizes what he still does better than almost anyone on the pitch. Pure vision, perfect pass weight, set-piece magic, timing, and absolute emotional control over massive matches. Copa America 2024. 6 assists, a tournament record player of the tournament. In a tournament defined by intense pressure, brutal physicality, and deep low blocks, he was still engineering goals from open play and set pieces. That isn't nostalgia. That's pure production. His set-piece delivery is absolutely crucial for a squad this strong. Sanchez, Mina, Lerma, Córdoba, and Suarez. This Colombian side is massive. When James steps up to a corner, teams aren't defending a blind cross. They are defending one of the deadliest left feet in international football, serving a pack of players who aggressively attack first contact. Take the semi-final against Uruguay. James's corner, Lerma's header, 1-0, Copa America final booked. Clean and simple. Put it all together, and defending this team becomes a total nightmare. Press high, and Díaz bursts right in behind your line. Drop deep, and James slowly picks you apart. Flood the left side, and Muñoz punishes you on the right. Defend the first ball, and Ríos or Arias clean up the second. Stop the wide threat, and Córdoba or Suarez will crash the penalty box. There is no easy answer, and that is exactly the point. Colombia isn't just a squad with pace, flair, a star winger, and an aging legend. They are a layered attacking machine, carrying enough tactical variety to punish any opponent in multiple ways. That is why nobody wants to draw them. The threat doesn't come from just one place anymore. But the real terror with Colombia isn't just what they do in possession. It's the sheer panic they cause you without the ball. They press with emotion, run with absolute aggression, stretch the pitch wide, and flip chaotic moments into scoring chances before your defense can even blink. Slow the play down, and they swarm you. Open the pitch up, and they sprint into the gaps. Survive the first wave, and they batter you with the second. Focus all your attention on Díaz or James, and someone else strikes from a totally blind angle. That is the ruthless identity Lorenzo has forged here. The setup is a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, but that's just a starting point. The magic is how fast it morphs once the ball starts rolling. Fullbacks bomb forward. Wingers absolutely thrive out wide in isolation. James floats into space to get it on his left foot. Off the ball, Colombia waits for pressing triggers. A heavy touch, a negative pass, a center half dwelling on the ball too long. That is when they pounce. And they don't press like robots following a whiteboard. They press like a squad that truly believes every single duel can change the entire match. Jefferson Lerma is the engine behind it all. He isn't out there to make things look pretty. His job is killing counterattacks early, shielding the center halves, winning those ugly second balls, and making life miserable for opponents. Lerma is exactly why this team can attack without exposing their defensive spine. Richard Ríos brings smooth ball progression right next to that physical anchor. He glides through heavy traffic, turning midfield turnovers into instant forward momentum. This means James rarely has to drop deep just to help build the play. Then the fullbacks completely warp the geometry of the pitch. Muñoz remains the absolute hardest guy in this lineup for defenders to track. Listed as a right back, but functionally he's a goal-scoring winger. Just look at his strike against Spain in London. Colombia dragged the defense over toward Díaz. Muñoz crashed in from the blind side with perfect striker's timing, burying an acrobatic finish. This is exactly what happens when you only mark the superstars. Out wide left, Moika offers width and a real crossing threat. Pair him with Díaz, and defenders face a nightmare. Step to Díaz, space opens up behind. Stay tight, and Moika punishes you. Shift over too far, and suddenly Muñoz bombs down the opposite flank. Dead balls are a lethal weapon here, not an afterthought. Sanchez, Mina, Lerma, Córdoba, Muñoz, this Colombian squad is physically terrifying. When James whips in a corner, teams are not defending some hopeful cross. They are trying to stop one of the deadliest left feet in world football, aiming at giants who attack the first touch. Look at that Copa America semi against Uruguay. James corner, Lerma header, 1-0. Job done. Yet pure mentality is what truly sets this team apart. Copa America 2024 proved Colombia can suffer. They did not just play pretty football. They survived different styles of matches. Dismantled Panama 5-0 in the quarterfinal. Then they edged Uruguay 1-0 in the semifinal with 10 men after the Muñoz red card. They defended a lead against South America's most relentless, bruising team. That kind of victory shifts how opponents view you. Winning beautifully earns basic respect. Winning while surviving a man down, that earns pure fear. And their World Cup qualifying stats paint a truly honest picture. Third place in CONMEBOL, 28 points, 28 goals. Only Argentina scored more in the entire South American qualifying run, but they leaked 18 goals too. Colombia absolutely suffocates teams, but they leave gaps behind. That exact tension is what makes their World Cup ceiling so fascinating. Over in Group K, Portugal serves as their ultimate reality check. Can Colombia press Portugal without getting easily played through? Will Lerma and Ríos lock down the midfield once Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva start ghosting into pockets? And can Diaz cause pure chaos on counterattacks against a possession-heavy Portuguese side? That match is not just about winning the group. It is a measuring stick game telling us if this Colombian squad can actually trade blows with Europe's elite. Uzbekistan and DR Congo bring totally different tactical headaches. Rigid organization from one and terrifying raw direct athleticism from the other. Colombia cannot just show up expecting a win. Focus matters. Realistically, the round of 16 is the bare minimum floor for this team. The quarterfinals are where their raw talent and recent knockout experience will finally collide with international football heavyweights. Semifinals are possible if Diaz stays decisive, James controls the critical moments, and those set pieces stay lethal. Reaching a historic first World Cup final is the ultimate dream. Not because this Colombian side are tournament favorites, but because their tactical profile absolutely shatters carefully constructed game plans. Still, the defensive concerns are very real. 18 goals leaked during qualifiers is just too many for a squad that dreams of lifting the World Cup trophy. Elite European powerhouses will ruthlessly target those pockets behind their fullbacks. Teams that heavily press James and cut off that first forward pass will test if other playmakers can step up. Because at a World Cup, the real challenge is not upsetting just one elite nation. It is doing it constantly, on short rest, with every single weakness studied. Colombia are absolutely not the safest bet to win the tournament, but they might be the absolute worst nightmare to play against. There is a massive difference. Safe tournament favorites control the pitch for 90 minutes. Colombia can completely shatter the rhythm of a match in 5. One lightning transition, one deadly corner, one explosive Diaz sprint, one James pass, or a Muñoz tap in from nowhere. That makes them terrifying in knockout football. They do not need perfection for a month. They just need to be explosive and ruthless in the fleeting moments that completely decide games. For years, Colombia was a squad known for producing great moments. Now, they actually look like a dominant team capable of delivering a truly historic tournament.